So, the doctor who waited too long again, is that you? Is that you? You may know the answer to that. And so what keeps doctors waiting and waiting and waiting and delaying? Right. So there's a thing called, there's multiple traps here, but perfectionism is key. So as doctors, it's like ingrained in our culture to be perfectionists, or maybe we are perfectionists and we come into the culture and we perpetuate it. It's a coping mechanism.
So let's get real. Our value as doctors has significantly diminished over the last decade. So how can we turn that around by upskilling and creating rewarding and impactful careers on our own terms? Welcome to Disrupting Doctors' Careers. I'm your host, Dr. Abeyna Bubbers-Jones, and I'm on a mission to connect 1 million talented doctors with the best in diverse career opportunities.
You keep saying that it's time or money that's holding you back. But let's be honest, it's neither of those. It's fear, right? Fear. It's fear of failing, fear of judgment, fear of visibility, fear of, say, what your regulatory body will say, fear of what your colleagues will say, fear of what your friends will say, fear of what your parents will say, and also fear of actually succeeding and achieving the dream career and or life and or income that you want. So in this episode, I will be directly addressing the fear that holds a lot of doctors back from creating a career and a life that they love. And we all felt this at some point. And probably as an ongoing, we talk about imposter all the time. But anyway, I felt it too. So this episode is extremely close to my heart, and I'll tell you why. So if this resonates, even a slight amount, then you have to listen to this episode. So I'm doing this episode because I hear doctors tell themselves things which are just untrue, right? The common ones are, hey, I don't have time to go and develop a career that I actually like and do something different from what I'm doing. I'll just stay and do what I'm doing even though I hate it, right? Or I don't have time to learn another qualification to change careers, right? Not that they have to, but again, it's like have to do the qualification first and have time to do that. They say, hey, I don't have enough money to invest in actually speeding that thing up by doing a program that actually helps me to connect with a lot more people that are doing it and help me learn the skills I need to get the job opportunity or grow my business. I'd rather keep doing something else that I know hasn't worked. And also, like, you're afraid to get things wrong. I get that quite a lot. But no one ever says it, I have to say. But I know that because there is this fear of failure and being judged for being for being a failure. So, as I said, the key elements are fear of failure, fear of being visible, especially being visible to everyone around you, not even just online, everyone around you, as well as online. Fear of not being ready enough. And again, what does ready even mean these days? Right? No one's ever 100% ready to do anything, and we do it. Fear of success and the pressure that comes with being successful. So let me tell you a story. I had a doctor that I mentored a while back, and they knew they wanted to do something different in industry, grow their career, do something bigger, better. Loved medicine to a degree, but said I can do something. But they were saying that for 9 years. 9 years of saying, hey, I want to do something else. I'd see them at events, I see them at conferences that we run, and then I'd see them again, we'd mentor them for a bit, and then they'd go back and it's like, hold on a second, what's holding you back here? It's been 9 years and you've said you want out, so what are you doing? And I noticed that every year they'd be like, hey, I'm nearly ready, and I'll take the leap next year, or I'll take it after I do this qualification, or get to this level of training, or etc., etc., etc. There'll always be a better time, right? Oh, it's too busy right now, a better time, right? And so again, we worked out, but by the time, had she started the 9 years before, she would have earned about 6 or 7 figures worth of income, which was a lot more than what she was earning now, which is, again, was a capped salary in the NHS. And she wouldn't have burned out several times along the way either, right? Because she would have actually developed her own career. And actually, she had a business idea that really could have run or not run. But even with that expertise, she could have joined the company. So the doctor who waited too long, again, is that you? Is that you? You may know the answer to that. And so what keeps doctors waiting and waiting and waiting and delaying, right? So there's a thing called, there's multiple traps here, but perfectionism is key. So as doctors, it's like ingrained in our culture to be perfectionists, or maybe we are perfectionists and we come into the culture and we perpetuate it. It's a coping mechanism. It's a way of actually, making sure that we feel good enough for what we're doing. Learning as well is another problem. It's a delaying tactic. It gives us a reason to actually not start do the doing. When I was a surgeon, or even at the beginning of my medical training, it was very much see one, do one, teach one. And then I noticed as time went on, it was more like C1, 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 C1. You can have a little, no, just C1, 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 C1. Okay, you can do a little bit of this one, a little bit more of this one, a little bit more of this one, but C1, 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 and then maybe you could teach one, right? And by that time, you're like, I'm a consultant, I've only had like this amount of exposure to this operation. So you see what I mean? Like, because the way the environment has changed is that risk and mitigation and complaints went up. And then, the risk of having underqualified or people doing these procedures it's just too high to take. And so we were more bystanders as trainees, bystanders rather than actual people that do stuff. And when I was working in South Africa, that wasn't the case at all. It was like medical students could do chest drains, medical students could do appendectomies. I can do appendectomy until I finish my core surgical training. So that was like 4 or 5 years post-grad. And these are pre-grad. These are pre-graduation professionals doing these procedures, right? You can see the difference. And one of the reasons that they're prepared like that is because in South Africa, in their second, third year, they have a community service year, ComServe year, where they have to go to a rural hospital and pretty much do everything without that much in the way of support and supervision. Right? There's no way I would have been able to do that in my third year post-grad. So you can see whereby, especially in like traditional Western culture, you've got the perfectionism, you've got the overlearning and overthinking. Thinking about things again and again without actually doing is a way of staying safe, but it's not a way of progressing. Right? And this is how the medical culture trains us as doctors not to fail and avoid failure and avoid taking risks at all costs. And I completely understand. These are people's lives, right? These are people's lives. It makes sense. It actually makes sense. But in industry, we're not dealing with people's lives. We're not dealing with people's lives at all. Not in a direct level. We're dealing, especially if you're working in a health-related environment. So health tech is about supporting people at scale, but not doing it on an individual level, right? We're wired to be qualification junkies. So we take loads of qualifications and we plan and we wait, right? And in industry, again, like people reward, so industry decision makers, employers, they reward people who just get on and do it. Messy action, imperfect action, not those who perfection, and then do something, because that doesn't pay. Perfectionism does not pay. At the end of the day, businesses run on money, and you're wasting time and money. The longer it takes to get something out to the market, the more money you're wasting. So the idea is to try and get something to market fast, test, reiterate, test, reiterate, test, reiterate. That is the mentality that we're coming from. So let me tell you another story. I had a doctor who nearly didn't start working with me because she told herself that she just wasn't ready. I'm not ready to do this. I need to be planning some more. I've got to look at my business plan. Maybe I should wait until my business plan is finished in about 5-6 months, and then we'll have a conversation, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, so she decided to join us on the fellowship, and then within is it 4 to 8 weeks, she'd already booked her first client, which was four figure client. So I think it was around the 5,000 grand mark, and that was without having to perfection her business plan. It was a strategy. It was strategy. It was going out there, it was testing her offer and then reiteration. Right. So had she waited another 6 months, she wouldn't have made any money in that time. She would have just been thinking about it. So why is taking action now, if this resonates with you, why is taking action now safer than waiting? So why is taking action now safer than waiting? So every day you delay taking action, there are two things that happen. One, you lose potential income. So this is income that you could have earned had you actually started doing the right things that points towards actually earning money. And also inflation. So if you're continuing on the same salary and inflation happens, and we know particularly as doctors, our salary tends not to keep up with inflation. So you're losing money as you continue in the same job. That is a problem. And that contributes towards losing potential income. And the other is, think about the other doctors who are like, hey, actually better get on and do something now, right? So you're like, I'm going to wait and not do anything now. And then you've got other doctors who are doing similar or the same things, or maybe going for the same job. So I've got to do something now. Who's going to be winning? Who's going to be winning? It's going to be the doctors who are actually doing something now rather than the ones that aren't doing anything, right? So if you look at, say, when you're applying for jobs and you're like, hey, I'm not even getting a look in, it's because you're applying for a job that's online that everyone's going for, and the competition has just massively increased. So when I first started Medic Footprints in 2014, employers were saying, hey, can you just find us any doctor? Now they're like, we have so many doctors coming to us all the time. Like, can you find a doctor that has like commercial skill set? So basically they're having to filter through all of these doctors that want to leave their jobs, right? And the competition is huge. So the more that you delay, because there's only one way this is going at the moment, there's more and more doctors that are leaving or developing their careers in industry. So the pool of competition just gets bigger. And most of these doctors are just looking at jobs that are online on Indeed or LinkedIn or wherever, right? And you're probably doing the same thing. So you see the problem. And if you're like, I'm going to wait for later, you're like, okay, right, now I've got to compete. I had to compete with 50 people, and now I've got to compete with like 500 people. So which would you rather? 50 or 500, right? So again, it's like waiting. I know it feels responsible, like you want to have 100% commitment before you do anything, but it's actually a really risky move. And the thing is, we don't see the money like draining from your bank account as you're going. You think, oh, I'm doing the right thing. I'm waiting till the right time, and it feels right. But at the end of the day, it's really, really not the right thing for most doctors that I see. Right. I mean, obviously there are exceptions, and you know yourself better than anyone else, but it's really important if you are that person to really dig deep and be like, actually, what are the risks of doing nothing and waiting? And what are the risks of actually just taking action now? Right. Because it is the action takers that win. Simply spoken, it's the people that actually just get on and do it and fail and learn and fail and learn are the ones that grow quicker. And they do it before they're even ready. I say ready because a lot of the time I don't even know what ready means these days, right? Ready's like a really weird word for like, yeah, let's go now. I've got it all figured out. I know exactly what's going to happen. There's complete guarantee and certainty. It never happens. Never happens. So those people that actually do, they still have the fear. They still have the uncertainty. They still have I don't actually really know what I'm doing 100% or even 50%, even 20%, but I'm going to do it anyway and see what happens and learn. They don't have everything figured out, but they go and do it. That's what happened with me in Medic Footprints when I started it. I literally did not know what I was doing. I was a doctor. Did not know what I was doing, but just started talking to people and failed and made a billion mistakes, and I'm here still talking about it today. Business still alive. You know, we're enjoying ourselves. Hard work, but totally worth it because of the thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of tens of thousands doctors that I've been able to help across the world in that time. And had I said, I'm going to wait until I'm ready, you wouldn't be benefiting from my knowledge and expertise having worked with those doctors and my insights from the last 11 years of doing this, right? And, you know, there were lots of times when even within that journey, I held myself back. I was like, I'm not credible enough to do this. I'm not an expert at this topic. Should I do a qualification? There's no qualification alternative careers for doctors. You know, there's nothing. But the reality is I lost confidence along the way. I needed more clarity in what I was doing. I needed to create more time to actually move forward and develop a business and develop a support system to help more doctors at scale, right? And it was only really in the last few years that I really threw myself into it 100%, because Medic Footprints for a long time was what I call a side hustle. Even though it wasn't really a side hustle, I was like 100% doing it alongside 100% of medicine, and it was like burnout city, and it happened several times, and I would not do that again. And in some ways it was me delaying actually doing something that I loved by holding on to medicine so tightly, going, this is my plan B. This is actually the more important thing here. And actually it's my job and my income. And I need to sort that out first. And then and I look back and, you know, it felt like the right thing, but actually it was a delaying tactic because I was afraid. I was scared. I wasn't really sure whether this would work. I didn't even want to be that visible. I know you're thinking, Abeyna, you didn't want to be visible. I didn't want to be visible. You know, like I didn't want to be putting myself on social media. I hated social media. I still do, to be honest. Like, but the reason why I go on social media and the reason why it's important is not even because of me. It's because of the mission that we have, connecting 1 million doctors with the best and diverse careers. And I can't do that by not going on social media. There's like literally, well, going on TV is the other way. And hey, I've done that. But it's one of the best tools that's out there. So it's about leveraging these tools, right? So my story is like delayed action. It really costs you a lot of money. And, you know, I've delayed action time and time again. It's cost me millions. I worked it out, millions, right? And not even just in money, it's cost me in time, energy. It took me through several burnouts, and I never want that to happen to any other doctor. So if you're scared, it's not a sign to stop. It's just you being human, right? And it's also a sign that there's something really important on the other side. So I see a lot of doctors that come, we have a call together, and they know they've got a clear problem. They know what they want to do. And, you know, even beforehand, because we have a lot of stuff that we do to qualify doctors to make sure that they can have a conversation so everyone gets there. And they're like, right, but yeah, this just isn't the right time right now. Yeah, I'm going to wait until like later on and then never. Later on and then never. And it's like, what changed? Why did you come now to this event? Why did you apply and go through all of the stuff we send out and you've got to get through to get to this call? What was it why now and not later? Because the reality is, and with what we're doing, especially with our fellowship programs, we don't do window shopping. We don't do let's have a chat because there's so much information out there. So we don't do chats. We do, hey, let's figure out where you're at and can we help you? And if you're serious about moving forward, then we'll see whether we can do that. Not let's have a casual chat and then you come back 2 years later or never, which most doctors do because they're scared because of the fear that we've been talking about, right? So if you are someone that is fearful, but you're going to do it anyway, regardless of the fear, then this will definitely be for you. So come and let's have a chat, but a serious chat about how we can seriously help you move forward and unblock some of those fear blockers that you may or may not even realize that you have that's holding you back from your dream career and life. And it's the first bold step that you need to make that impact in the world, right? It's a bold step. So, as I said, I run the fellowship. It's not for everyone. It's not for every doctor. And it's really ambitious doctors who want to change their narrative, who want to work through their fear, not succumb to it, and achieve that well-paid, highly valued career that they own, that's flexible, and they've got no one telling them what to do. So you don't need more time. You don't need more qualifications. You don't need more learning. You don't need more delaying tactics. You just need to move. And if that's you, I can't wait to get started. So see you in the next episode.